Brett, I can't hear anything.
Please leave your message for 7.
I think he's muted.
Can anybody hear me? Sorry, guys, I keep unmuting my microphone. Am I live now? Can you guys hear me? Microphone? Oh my goodness, everybody. Technical difficulties, but the show must go on. I apologize, everybody. Chief Moore we're going to have a problem later. I apologize, Chief. Welcome to UHPD's virtual National Night Out 2020. I guess it's a night in under the current circumstances. We're happy you're taking the time to get to know the University of Houston Police Department. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties. My name is Chris Stipes. I'll be serving as your moderator tonight. I'm the Director of Media Relations here at the University of Houston. I will also apologize in advance should my daughters interrupt the event. I have threatened them with jail and possible incarceration, so we'll see how that goes tonight. National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships and camaraderie between a police department and the community they serve. This year, of course, departments can't get together with their community in the same as they have in years past, but UHPD still wanted to reach out, let you know a little bit about what they do, give you some tips about campus safety so that you can protect yourself on and off campus. We've also received a lot of great questions from you. We will get to as many as we can tonight. So if you send a question in when you signed up to be part of this event tonight, and we don't have time to get to it, I promise you that a member of UHPD will respond via email. And if you have future questions for UHPD, you can always send them an email at police@uh.edu. Again, police@uh.edu. Before we get to Chief Moore, let me just say, on a personal note, I've seen this team in action frequently, whether it's responding to a student in crisis or unfortunately a crime on campus. They always act swiftly and professionally to keep our entire campus community safe. And we are very lucky to have this police force and the fine men and women of UHPD to serve and protect the community. So again, we're going to get to a whole lot of the UHPD leadership tonight. So it's going to be a fun event. Chief Moore loves to have fun, but it's also going to be very informative, and we're going to get a lot of questions answered in the second half hour. So again, hopefully everybody's mic is on. Look, I was going to make fun of somebody and say, who will be the first person to talk with their mic muted? And it turns out it's the moderator. So that's just awesome. Let's kick things off with the one and only Chief of Police, Caesar Moore Jr. Chief, good evening. How are you?
I'm splendid. Thank you very much. That was an interesting opening. And thankfully, I'm not the first person to come on and have my mic muted. So, and you are the media professional, correct?
Can you believe that? It's a sad state of affairs.
So that's really fun for me to see the media person struggle with the technology. So that's fun. I want to start by thanking everyone who helped to get this event together. It was an unusual arrangement to do National Night Out virtually. Is new for us, like it is other agencies in the country. So the team, everyone who contributed to this event, I'm very thankful, because usually when things like this happen, there are a lot of decisions, there are a lot of things done behind the scenes that I'll never know about. And I am appreciative for everything that everybody's done to get us to this point. So thank you so much. For National Night Out, usually it's a team building situation where the police and the community come together. Oftentimes it's hot dogs and chips and sodas and things of that nature. But this year is completely different because of the pandemic. And even though we are here to foster our relationship with the community, I would be remiss if I did not start by addressing what's happening in this country regarding law enforcement. Like many of you, I've watched the George Floyd case, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Breonna Taylor and others So I am not oblivious to what's happening in our country. And our response internally is we've been doing an inordinate amount of training to make sure that we provide the best service. We've also been learning from the adventures of other departments to make sure that those things don't happen on our campus. In our country, we have over 18,000 police agencies. And a lot of people don't realize there's that many police agencies in the United States. I think the last time I counted, there were over 67 law enforcement agencies in the greater Houston area. And I say that to mean that there are a lot of police departments, and all of them are different. I see what's happening in Portland. I see what's happening in Seattle, Chicago, New York, what's happening around the country. And the issues that people see happening around the country, unfortunately, sometimes they will attribute that to us as well here at U of H. That's not been our experience. One thing about our police department, I think last year there were only 2 complaints against our officers by our community. 2. We're a respected police department on the campus. We try to be cutting edge. I press training and learning opportunities all the time, and I think that the people on the call can attest to that. But there are 3 things today I wanted to make sure I share with you that shows that our department is different. I worked over 25 years with the city of Houston. I retired as a commander, as a captain there. I was in charge of the largest patrol area in the city, the 2 largest patrol stations. I was the manager of both of those. One time was North Patrol, the other side was Northeast. And so I know what it's like to be a big city police officer. And I'm reminded of a learning moment for me many years ago when, as a young officer, I thought it was at 5 years, but it was actually, I had been on the department about 3 years. And in our roll call room, there was a board on the wall that had 3 categories of, I guess, things that were important. Number of arrests, felony arrests, number of misdemeanor arrests, and number of tickets. So when I went to roll call every day, I looked up there and that was on the wall. And because I was recognized as a good officer, my name was always on the board. I was always top 3 in arrests, top 3 in tickets. And I thought that was what defined being a good officer was. So about 3 years on the department reorganized, and a lot of people who were working offices got kicked out of the office and they got put back on the streets. And so they put a guy in the car with me. He had been in the office for 20 years. He actually worked in transportation. He made sure that we had cars to drive and gas in the vehicles. And so now he's riding with me, so in my car. And so he has to go by my rules because it's my car. So a car passes in front of us and ended up making a traffic stop. And there was a man with his wife and 6 kids. And the man had an expired driver's license, no insurance, no license plates, expired inspection sticker. Everything was wrong with his car, smoke, bald tires, everything was wrong with the car. So I go back to my car with his identification, and I'm going to write him some tickets because I think that that's what I'm supposed to do as an officer. I'm going to write him some tickets. So my partner looks at me and says, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready to write him some tickets." He says, "Well, that guy, he's the sole worker in his family. He can't afford the tickets that you're going to write him. They're going to turn the warrants. So he's going to have 6 tickets and 6 warrants. His car is going to be towed. He won't get it back. And his wife is at home taking care of those 6 kids. And now she won't have a breadwinner because he's going to be locked up in jail for 30 days paying off those tickets." So my partner told me this. He says, "You're an idiot." I never forget this. He told me, "You're an idiot." So what he made me do, he made me think through what I wanted to be when I became a police officer. I wanted to make a difference, and I wanted to make the community better. And I realized that strict law enforcement doesn't make the community better. I'm glad I learned that very early in my career. You have to understand the impacts of what you're doing. That's what makes a good peace officer. So that's when I really started to realize and look at the decisions I made to make sure that I was making good decisions that would have good downstream effects. That was really important to me. So I just let you know, the guy who called me an idiot, he ended up being the best man in my wedding when I was married at Willow Avenue Baptist Church right across the street from the police station today. The area I patrolled was 3rd Ward, and University of Houston was in my patrol beat as a very young officer. So I've always had ties to U of H. People have heard me say this. My daughter went to U of H. I'm a product of U of H. My dad went to U of H. So something keeps bringing me back to U of H. And the fact that I can bring my experience and my perspective to U of H, I'm really happy about that. And I share the story to let you know the things that you see publicly, nationally, that's happening in law enforcement, that's not who we are at U of H. There's no recognition for writing a bunch of tickets. There's no recognition for just making arrests of no value. We try to make decisions that ensure student success. We want students to be successful on campus. That's why we're here. So let me tell you about 3 things that we're doing right now that are indicative of how we think. Several years ago, I made a decision that whenever we arrest someone for public intoxication, we don't take them to jail. We take every one of them to the sobriety center, and that is not a criminal charge, and they're allowed to recuperate and be released. Several things sold me on utilizing this. One, people are not getting a criminal record over something that's very minor. I think that's important. 2, it's quicker for the officers to utilize the sobriety center versus placing somebody in jail. 3, this is the most important. If someone has an addiction, the sobriety center can provide them treatment at no cost to the person. I think that's absolutely great. Okay, second example of what we do to partner with the community. Recently, the district attorney's office has a program whereby victims of sexual assault are interviewed by trained trauma-based professionals, psychiatrists, sociologists, and the like. And this is what they do each and every day. So every victim of sexual assault, we now utilize that center, the assessment center, to conduct those interviews, because it does a couple of things. One, it enhances the level of the interview because that's what that person does each and every day. 2, it eliminates any fear or possible re-victimization by the police by taking the police out of the milieu of doing those interviews. Which again, for the victim, I think that's a good thing for the victim. And often what people are calling for nationally is for things that the police don't have to do, having those things performed by another social agency. And so we're utilizing that concept by having those victims of sexual assault being interviewed by an outside entity. Okay, the third thing that we're doing, I just approved for us to join the Harris County opt-in program, the opt-in program. And what that simply means is there are certain crimes, Class A and Class B misdemeanors, where officers don't have to effect an arrest. Officers can issue a summons, and that person can go and address that matter in court without having their vehicle towed, without having been arrested, no handcuffs, without being booked into the county. It's a less confrontational approach. And I think that allows the police to be in a better position that when force is needed, when arrests need to be made, officers still have the capability to do that. But I want to put my officers in positions where we can build better relationships, the best relationships with the community. And these are just 3 examples of what we do to embrace that thought process. So I'm proud of the team. You're going to hear from the other captains doing this process this evening. We're going to answer a bunch of questions, and we're here to serve. We're here to make our community better. And again, I thank you for joining our event today, and I yield to our moderator.
Whose microphone is now on. So thank you, Chief. Great examples. Everybody's smiling. Thank you, guys. Oh, I feel like a fool. But the show must go on and we continue to move forward. Chief, some great examples of community policing. And I think the stories you told really highlight the importance of building those relationships in the community. And I hadn't realized that Third Ward was part of your beat way back when you were just a fledgling police officer with HPD. So that's a really interesting, I'm sure that gives you a great perspective, so many years later.
Yeah, the neighborhood has changed so much. U of H looks completely different. I've been at U of H almost 9 years now, and the campus has transformed during my time at U of H. If you go through Third Ward with all of the new regentrification, all of the condos and whatnot, it's completely different than it was when I started in the very early 80s.
Okay, Chief Moore, we appreciate the insight. Just terrific to listen to you talk. We'll move forward now and move on to our next speaker, which is Captain Brett Collier. He is a commander of field operations, going to give us some more insight about his role at UHPD. And Brett, Captain Collier, take it away, please.
All right, I appreciate it, Chris, and I always like the opportunity to be able to talk about the people that I work with and the stuff that we do, because I think our guys do a great job. So, so the field operations in the police department consist of 3 distinct areas that work together. Patrol is one. That's going to be the police officers that you see out there on the street. Telecommunications, which those are our dispatchers, and then the crime prevention unit, which is an area of the department that tries to, of course, prevent crimes from happening and help you learn ways to be safe. I'll start off just by going through each of those real quick. For patrol, we have 31 commissioned police officers working across 3 shifts. That's shifts 1, 2, and 3. That's days, evenings, and nights. And so we're here 24/7, and that includes holidays, weekends, whenever we're out here. We have 1 lieutenant that works on each of those shifts and commands the supervisors and officers on those shifts. We also have officers stationed out at UH Victoria, UH Sugar Land, and University of Houston at Katy. And one of the best things I think about working with this group of people that I get to work with is they really do have a very a varied and wide set of skills. We have some folks that, of course, come straight out of the police academy, but others have already finished entire careers at other police departments, much like Chief Moore. All 3 of our lieutenants have come from other departments and bring those skills with them, and it really is great to have them on board. So the way we patrol is you'll see our cars out there, of course, if you've been on campus. You'll see our cars out there. We have a couple of carts, and we'll be on foot up in and out of buildings and pretty much all over the place. And we patrol all areas of campus, not only the central, what you might think of the central campus, but also Technology Bridge, which is just on the other side of the railroad tracks. And we also have a few other properties that are nearby that we check up on. So we do, and then also a little bit off of campus of areas that might cause us concern or might be impactful to the university. For instance, we have some spots in nearby neighborhoods where cars that are related to campus tend to park. So of course we check up on those areas because that's our community. What we do is we respond to emergency and non-emergency calls. Emergency calls might be crimes in progress, medical emergencies, any imminent threats to campus or safety of any person. Those are the types of things that we'll respond to. And then with the emergency, non-emergency calls rather, these might be reports of crimes that have already concluded. We also do welfare checks. If we get a call from a concerned family member that is wondering why they haven't heard from someone in a while, we'll be happy to go over and knock on the door. And if they need help, we get them the help that they need. We do security escorts along with the security unit, who you're going to hear from in a little bit. We do traffic enforcement, just like most police officers do, or police agencies. And we do a lot of other service calls. Honestly, we have a lot of things that you wouldn't normally see a police officer doing. We do because we're the ones that are here after hours, right? So you might see us responding to something like a stuck elevator or a water leak, and we're happy to do it if it gets someone out of an elevator quicker or prevents a building from being flooded. The second area of the field operations that I mentioned is telecommunications. We have 12 commissioned telecommunicators, and these are going to be the folks that when you call, this is who you're going to be talking to. And they again work 24/7, just like our patrol unit does. We have one dispatch supervisor who does a great job running that area, Ms. Arnetta Washington. And so what those guys do, they take incoming calls, again, both emergency and non-emergency. They radio pertinent information to the officers about calls and dispatch them to calls. They enter information into our computer-aided dispatch system. They monitor alarms. They do a lot. Those guys are busy in there, and I couldn't be more thankful to have them on board. The last area is crime prevention, which I mentioned. We have one sergeant, Sergeant Dina Padovan, who is with us right now. She's behind the scenes running the show. But again, we appreciate all that she does. And what she does normally, alone and in concert with other departments, is she puts on different programs that help inform our community about ways to stay safe and resources that might be available to them. A few of those, of course, have had to go online, but those are transitioning well. And some examples, we have CRAZE training, which is the civilian response to active shooter events. That's been a very popular program, which is either just recently or will soon be going online. Residential and office security, bicycle registration, alcohol and drug awareness, really pretty much anything. And of course, any safety and security related topic that someone might want more information on, we can put that together. Also, she conducts security surveys whenever we see there might be an issue at a particular building that, we might give them some feedback about how things can be done differently. So anyway, my time is drawing close, but that sums up how our field operations unit is staffed. And like I say, I really enjoy working with them.
Great, Captain Brett Collier, thank you. I'm very happy that you brought up all of the crime prevention initiatives that you have in place. In my role at the university in the communications and marketing office, I'm often responding to media requests, people asking questions, well, what is UH doing to keep people safe? And I work with Captain Collier to formulate some of those responses, but it's an exhaustive list in terms of the things that you all do. So very appreciative of that and great insight there, Captain Collier, thank you. Let's move on now. Another area of the UHPD is the Security Services Unit, commanded by Captain Andrea Black. If there's an event on campus, and just drawing from my own experience, when we plan to have a big event on campus, UHPD is always involved, making sure that the site is safe and secure for all the people that are going to be there. And again, Captain Andrea Black, I'll let you take it away and describe what you do.
Thank you, Chris. As introduced, I am Captain Andrea Black, the Director of Security for the University of Houston Police Department. I lead a great team of approximately 90 security officers who are spread out over day, evening, and night shifts at Central Campus, Katy, Sugar Land, and Victoria. Our security officers are basically the eyes and ears of the police department. A great compliment to the police officers, meaning that whether assigned to a residential hall, a library, patrol position, they provide a uniform presence that acts as a deterrent to crime. They're all permanently assigned to a post so they can more easily observe when someone or something is out of place or doesn't look right at a location. They control access to the buildings they're assigned to keep students, employees, and guests safe. They patrol the parking lots and conduct building checks, looking for things like propped doors, unsecured bicycles at the bicycle racks, bicycles that are secured to stairwells or other areas that would prevent exit during an emergency event. We provide walking, bicycle, or cart escorts for security or safety purposes. However, we prefer not to provide transports for people running late to class. We try very hard to provide great customer service, and our open sign is always on to provide crime prevention tips, answer any questions, or point you in the right direction to find an answer. That's me, Chris.
I love it. No, people that aren't involved with PD every day like you all are, I think fail to recognize everything that you all do and everything that goes into what you do. It's more than just crime fighting. I mean, there's so many components involved. So I think this is really valuable for the people that are listening to learn more about what you all do. Let us keep it moving so we can stay on schedule, because we want to get to our questions at the end of the hour. Right now, the only captain that we haven't heard from yet is Captain Michael Coleman. He is commander of the Support Services Unit, which, of course, is an integral component of UHPD. Captain Coleman, good evening.
Good evening, Chris. I'd like to say hello to everyone. As he said, my name is Michael Coleman, Captain over Support Services. That entails I manage criminal investigations, which I have a great group behind me, special events. That includes football, basketball, baseball, any special events on campus. Also, I'm over hiring, which we are hiring for right now, police officers and dispatchers and security. That entails property and found property. So if you've lost something, please come to the department and let us know. I'm also over the ATV guys. That's for high visibility. That's for any questions. You see them, you stop, they're visible. Ask any questions, stop and ask anything you need to ask, directions or anything like that. Go back to criminal investigations. We investigate all criminal activities on campus and off campus. My criminal investigation team is very helpful and very good at what they do. So I like to give them a shout out and say thank you. One of my persons in support services, you don't get enough, is Corporal Couch. She's one of the keys that helps me the most. With that said, I will yield my time. And if you have any questions, feel free.
Captain Coleman, thank you. I like how you took the opportunity. Great recruiter there. He says, we are hiring. So if anybody out there listening wants to get involved with a great police department, this would be a great opportunity. So Captain Coleman, thank you very much. Now that you've heard a little bit about how UHPD operates, let's talk about ways to keep yourself safe, both on and off campus, and about some of the resources that are available to you. For that, we go to Lieutenant Damon Hines, who leads the day shift patrol. Lieutenant Hines, hello.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, I'm Lieutenant Damon Hines. I'm going to go over a few crime prevention tips that most of us already know, but it's always good to be reminded of. The good thing about these tips is that they're useful no matter where you are, home, school, or just out and about. Let's start with the first tip: see something, say something. The best lookout the police and the community have is you. This does not mean we want you to spy on your neighbors or anything like that, but it does mean that we trust you to know what is normal in your area, whether in your neighborhood, office, or classroom. If you see something that doesn't look right or looks suspicious to you, call us to check it out. That's what we're here for. An example here on campus might be that you're walking across campus and you see someone hiding behind bushes or a sign or something else. First off, avoid the location, but then call us at UHPD to check it out for your safety and the safety of your fellow students, professors, and staff members. It may be nothing, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Tip number 2, don't leave items unattended. This refers to leaving bags, phones, computers, or other items unattended and then you walk away. This can apply to anything, but a few examples might be something you leave in your classroom, on a bench on campus, or a table in the student center while you order a white chocolate mocha from Starbucks. Someone may come along and feel entitled to your stuff, pick it up and walk away with it. Tip number 3, hide your belongings and lock your car. This tip goes along with not leaving items unattended. Hide your belongings in your car to prevent a broken window. Don't leave boxes or bags visible in your car even if they're empty. From outside the car, a thief might see them and decide to check. Lock your car. Thieves have been known to walk through a parking lot and pull on door handles to see if one opens. Don't make it easy for them. Tip number 4, be aware of your surroundings. This applies to anywhere you're at, whether on campus or at the grocery store or in a mall parking lot. Keep an eye out for anything that looks strange or suspicious to you. If you see something, walk the other way and call us to check it out. Tip number 5, store important phone numbers in your phone for quick access. You can quickly find the number in your contacts or say, "Hey Siri" or "Hey Google, call UHPD," or other important connections. This way, if you need to contact help quickly, it's faster and easier for you. And that pretty much covers the tips that I've got. I'll turn it back over to Chris.
I almost got caught again. I just unmuted myself. Saved by the, okay. Very good. Thank you very much. And what you said right off the top, you know, see something, say something, and that's right along the lines. I know you guys talk a lot about being a co-producer of safety. You know, it's a two-way street. It's that personal responsibility for everyone to take their safety, you know, in hand. And so you guys do a great job to facilitate that and to empower people to do that. Okay, that is the conclusion of our speakers right off the top, but now we're going to do some rapid fire over the next 25 minutes. There was an opportunity for you all that are participating in the virtual National Night Out tonight to submit some questions when you signed up. So we got a lot of questions. And again, if we don't get to them all, someone from UHPD will email you directly and give you an answer to your question, because again, that's at the essence of what we want to accomplish here tonight, is making sure that your voice is heard and that your questions are answered. So let's get right to some questions that I have right now, and we'll also introduce you to some people that you haven't heard from yet throughout UHPD. The first question will go to, who's the lucky person? Captain Coleman. The question is, how many police and security officers does UHPD have?
Right now, we have a total of 59 police officers and 90 security officers.
There we go, short and sweet. Next question, get ready, Lieutenant Anthony Davis, Patrol Shift 2. This is a good question. How do you decide where to patrol on campus?
Well, traditionally, our patrol operations are structured and directed around responding to calls for service. Time not spent on service demands is then consumed by preventive patrols, administrated and self-initiated tasks. Preventive patrol is random. It's the random roving of a police beat. The thought process behind this practice is to prevent and deter crime by providing a visible police presence. We have direct patrols of areas where there may be concerns. These assignments are generally given out to officers during roll call. The self-initiated part of the task are usually officers doing things on their own. They're initiated to its completion and work it to its completion.
Okay, Lieutenant Davis, thank you for that answer. Lieutenant Hines, you're going to be up again, and I think this is a question on the top of mind for everybody, because our lives have been so dramatically changed during this crazy time that we're going through, the COVID-19 pandemic. So the question is, what is the most challenging adjustment, if any, that you're currently experiencing in your role overall as police officers because of the pandemic? And then how can the community help is the follow-up question.
Okay, that's a very good question. The most challenging adjustment police officers have experienced is the same as everyone else in America. Wearing masks all the time and maintaining our social distancing are particularly challenging, since our jobs are pretty much meeting people every day. So, you know, we've had to make big adjustments in that, maintain our safety as well as the public's. And in answer to the second part of that question, the public can help us out by following the recommended safety guidelines, wearing their masks, social distancing, and so on. That would be a big help for us as well.
Okay, very good. Next question is for Lieutenant Walter Lucas from Criminal Investigations. Lieutenant Lucas, the question is, how does the police department deal with the increase in online crimes, such as harassment and scams? I know my office, we run the social media channels and often alert you all when we get a comment that might warrant further investigation. So I know this is a very serious matter. So what's your take?
First of all, thank you, Chris. That's a good question. We're part of a vast network of law enforcement professionals, and that includes local and federal law enforcement. We also have partners with IT. Our UIT actually helps us a lot. One of the things that we do is we build partnerships with all of us. We communicate and we keep the information, and we share the information and also share resources in order to go after the people that's responsible for that.
Okay, very good, Lieutenant Lucas. Thank you. Next question is for Captain Black, and this is back to the topic of the coronavirus. I know it touches every division, department, college throughout the university. There's a coordinated response across the university. So the question is, what is UHPD's role in the university's response to the coronavirus?
I think to add to Lieutenant Hines' question and answer, the department provides support and service to the community by proactively safeguarding the campus, making sure that our officers have the equipment that they need to safely respond to calls on campus, and that we're wearing our mask and social distancing. The police department also handles the contact tracing for the university, and every employee in the department has been trained to do so.
Great, Captain Black, thank you. Yeah, actually, so the UH College of Medicine put together that contact tracing course, which I know that the contact tracers, you guys, took. So, you know, it's one department, one college helping another. So that's great coordination there. Captain Collier, next question for you. You know, the UH campus, if I'm not mistaken, is around roughly 600 acres. So this person is wondering, what is UHPD's jurisdiction, and do you patrol off campus?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think that that is one thing that's different about university police departments than might be for some other agencies, is that where we patrol in our jurisdiction by law is not necessarily the same thing. So our area of patrol responsibility is what I mentioned earlier, the campus itself, and any nearby other UH properties that might be in the area that we could go check on, and then just immediately adjacent to campus in those spots that may affect the campus. For instance, we might patrol a little bit away, but where our actual jurisdiction is, it's actually dictated by where the university owns property. So we have jurisdiction in any county in Texas where the university owns, leases, rents, or otherwise is under the control of the University of Houston, where that property is. So that's our jurisdiction and the relationship to the patrol responsibility.
Okay, just some great questions tonight. Here's another one, and this is something I've often wondered, because you hear the stories about people that call the police department. You know, they go through the drive-through and they got my order wrong, so they call 911. So I'm sure you guys have plenty of stories from your decades in law enforcement about some crazy calls. But the question is, you know, how does somebody know whether it warrants a call to UHPD? Like this specific example is, what should I do if I just see someone suspicious? Is it okay to call you guys? And that's for Lieutenant Davis. Apologies, Lieutenant Davis.
Chris, thank you for the question. You know, where we stand in this on this question is, if you see something suspicious, please call us. Call UHPD. We just ask that when reporting suspicious activity, it is helpful to give the most accurate description possible, which includes both description of the individual and the activity. So yes, we do encourage you to call your calls in. The dispatchers are experienced enough to seek through the various calls that comes in and determine which way they should forward the call, or how they should dispatch officers to the calls that come in from the citizens.
Okay, Lieutenant Davis, thank you. We have a question for someone we haven't heard from yet, Lieutenant Ron Hunter from Patrol Shift 3. And the participant in the virtual National Night Out asks, what advice do you have for students who have to walk building to building or to their cars at night when it's really dark outside?
Thank you, Chris. I'm Ron Hunter. I'm the lieutenant on the night shift patrol operations. The first thing I would encourage our students to never walk alone at nighttime. If you could, possibly walk with someone else or with a group. Walk along well lighted areas and lighted paths. Don't take shortcuts between dark area buildings, but stay on the most traveled paths between classes. The UHPD also has a security services, as you've heard, where we have our police officers or our security officers will escort our students, faculty, or staff to any location on campus. All they have to do is call 713-743-3333, 713-743-3333, and our office will be glad to dispatch a security officer or a police officer, depending on availability, to escort our community to wherever they need to go. Also, I'd like to put a shout out there for our parking and transportation division. They have what's called the Cougar Ride, and through their shuttle services, which operates Sunday through Thursday, between hours of 9 p.m. and 1 a.m., they follow the normal shuttle routes, and that's even to MD Anderson Library, Cougar Village, also to Moody Towers. So there's no reason for anyone to walk alone or to be concerned about their own safety, because we have those things in place and we're always available 24 hours a day.
Terrific information, Lieutenant Hunter. Thank you for sharing that. And I will tell you, because I work with students a lot in my role in the media relations office, and reporters come out and interview students if a crime were ever to happen, and I'm always listening in. I'll tell you, by and large, the students say that they feel very safe and are very complimentary of the work that the UHPD is doing, and I certainly concur with that. Next question. Oh, we get to take a little trip down memory lane with Lieutenant Lucas. What are some of your favorite memories? It's such an exciting job being a police officer, I would imagine. What are some of your favorite memories, Lieutenant Lucas, or stories of your time serving the University of Houston campus community?
Wow, I'm actually glad I got that question. One of my favorite memories actually started before I even became a police officer here. I was in high school. I was lost. And I'm not from Houston originally, but I was lost in the area. And I was approached by a University of Houston police officer. And I was over by the old, Robertson Field House. Had no idea where I was. And he actually picked me up. I told him where I lived. He drove me home. And because of that, it made me want to be a police officer here. So that's actually what led me to be a police officer at the University of Houston, because of that one officer who took his time, went out of his way to make sure a lost kid got home.
Wow, isn't that amazing how one interaction can change the course of someone's life? You just gave me chill bumps when you told that story, because we're so busy in our day-to-day lives, but really if you take that time to care and you take that time to talk to people like you guys are so committed to doing, it can really truly change someone's life. So what a terrific story, Lieutenant Lucas. And now we get to put Chief Moore on the spot, because he has a warm and fuzzy question as well coming your way, Chief. The participant asks, how has your life changed? And you touched on this a little bit earlier, from when you came up and you were on the patrol here in 3rd Ward, and now here you are, the Chief of Police at UHPD. How has your life changed coming from a large police department where you spent many years to a university police department?
See, I know to unmute my microphone.
Thank you.
I'm reminded of something that my mother told me when I got this job. She told me that once you're the chief, you're always the chief. Even when you retire, you're the chief. When you go to Walmart, you're the chief. So everything that you do all the time, you're the chief. And it's a responsibility that you have to take with joy, because if the responsibility of the job is too much, then you won't enjoy the job. The biggest change from coming from the city to a university, and I'll let you know, Chris, I go around the country and I actually train on this very topic. One difference is it's faster, and people don't see that until they get here. And that's why some people who come from large departments have difficulty coming to U of H, because it's much more faster than what you would think it is. With the city, if something happens and somebody calls the mayor's office, it may be a couple of days before somebody responds, and it may be a couple of days before I will find out as the commander. But U of H, especially with social media now, if something happens, it could be 10 minutes. I'm responding to something within 10 minutes, and people expect you nowadays to be responsive. So that's one difference. Second difference is the non-law enforcement orientation. Coming from municipal agencies, it tends to be more law enforcement. You have tech units, warrant execution teams, narcotics, vice, all these different investigative divisions investigate crimes. Versus here, we make decisions for people to be successful. We arrest when we need to, but our mission is student success. Another difference is, one last difference is, when you come from a large department, you specialize, you do one thing. So if I work accident division, I would know everything about accidents, I would process accidents, do accident scenes, reconstruction, everything would be accidents. But the rest of the department, my knowledge will be limited about those other parts of the department. Here, this is why it's tough to be a good officer at U of H. You do everything. You might be on a hiring board one day, then you're working a football game the next day, then you're doing traffic, move in, then you're doing a research project for me, then you're doing a national night out on a platform like this. So you might be doing a background investigation. For a U of H officer, you do everything. So the biggest transition is knowing that you are now responsible to do everything versus specializing in the one thing. And you're also much more accountable because we're much closer to our clientele than you are with the city. So it's kind of an overview of the difference between being with the city and being here at U of H.
Well, I think it's interesting, multiple times tonight in your responses, Chief, you have pointed to the mission of student success, which of course is our academic mission, our mission for our students after they leave campus, but to kind of integrate that with the policing plan, the student success is the utmost priority, I think is very key. And so I'm glad that you brought that up a couple of times. Chief, thank you. We've got about 9 minutes left and we've got some more questions to get to, so let's keep rolling right through it. You know, I think transparency is big these days. People want to know what they want to know when they want to know it, and we make an effort across the university to be as transparent as we can, though sometimes restricted by certain rules or laws. But the question is, for Captain Coleman, how can I find out what crime is occurring on campus? People might hear stories, ooh, a student got robbed or something bad happened, but if you want the bigger picture, where can you find about all the things that are happening?
Well, Chris, here at the station, we have a daily crime log, and it's also on our website. That's uofh.edu.police. You can go there and look at all the crimes for the month, years, so on and so on. And as far as U of H community, that's something we should all be doing so we can keep in touch with what's going on at the community at U of H.
Very good, thank you. So I'm trying, look at this horrible lighting I have. I've had a rough go of it today, folks. I apologize because my window here, I'm a former TV guy, so, it's great. Next question is for Captain Black. Captain Black, what kind of training do UHPD officers undergo?
Chris, I'm not going to take the remainder of your time plus whatever time afterwards, but briefly, all of our newly hired police officers go through 16 weeks of training. both in the classroom and working with a senior officer. And during that period of time, they learned the operations of the campus. As been said by several people, many of our officers come from other departments. So bringing them from a municipal to a campus environment takes a little bit of training. But they learn the campus geography and the surrounding areas. They learn use of force. Everyone on the department is CPR and first aid trained, certified. They go through Clery and Title IX training. As far as investigations, they go through crash report, accident investigations, sexual assault investigations, Title IX training. Wow, let's see. Records and evidence procedures. They also go through, I guess, what I would call community-based training, de-escalation, anti-bias training.
So the list is exhaustive.
It truly is. I mean, we have some of the best trained officers I've ever worked with in 35 years of law enforcement. So mental health training is really important here on campus. Ethics training, we do those two every single year. Wow.
I think that answers it.
I'm at a loss. There's a lot.
I think that answers it. I think the answer is that it's comprehensive training. So as you mentioned, most of the officers come from previous departments sometimes and have that base of training, but a lot more goes into it. A couple of minutes left. We've got time for just a couple more questions. This is an interesting one because you assume that everyone has a phone and constant access to a phone. The question is for Lieutenant Davis. How can I get help if I don't have access to a phone?
Thank you, Chris. That's a good question. I always encourage people to have a plan A and a plan B. In this case, if your phone dies or you do not have access to the phone in an emergency, as if you just walk around the campus, you see emergency blue light phones installed all over the campus, whether it's in parking lots or right outside the living space that you're in. There's a blue light, emergency blue light phone that you can simply just remove it from its hook, and it connects you to the UHPD dispatch center. And you'll find these phones throughout the campus. Most people have computers and laptops. I will advise you consider downloading the UHGo app on these devices, which will also allow you to contact the police in emergencies. If it's a true emergency, you can always go out in the hallways of the residential living and locate a fire alarm and just pull it. That will summon somebody. And those are just a few things, but more importantly, just always have a backup plan just in case the first one fails.
Great insight, Lieutenant Davis. Thank you. We'll take about 2 more questions. This one for Captain Coleman. Is UHPD affiliated with HPD?
Yes, we are. We actually work very closely with the city of Houston, especially when it comes to the University of Houston community. They advise us when things are going on, and we advise them when things are going on. So we work very, very close with Houston. We also have a lot of retirees here from Houston that work for us, including the chief himself and the assistant chief. So yes, we work very closely with HPD.
Here's a question for Lieutenant Hunter, and this is, I think, given the current circumstances with less people on campus, less density on campus right now. And the question is, with so few people in office buildings, what is UHPD doing to keep the building secure?
Thank you, Chris. It's a very good question. As I said, our department is open 24 hours a day. Our security officers and patrol officers provide 24-hour random building checks. Our officers are assigned to patrol beats, and they make these frequent random checks throughout these buildings, as well as the parking lots, to assure the safety of our community. We also work in close concert with our building maintenance personnel, as well as custodians, that if they see anything that's suspicious or out of place, to call the PD, and we respond immediately. But our officers do a very good job of keeping a visual eye, especially at nighttime.
Let's do one more quick question for Lieutenant Lucas, because we touched on this earlier, and the question is, what jobs are available at UHPD? So this is a good opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. Again, we have police officer positions, dispatch positions, and security. We are hiring. Go to the website. Go to our website. We are hiring. We want you.
We want you. I love it. Okay, guys, it's just about 5 o'clock, so we're going to wrap things up. This has just been a terrific experience, minus the first 1 minute of the deal, but we'll pretend that didn't happen when my microphone was not on. But we want to thank everyone who sent in questions, and thank you to UHPD for these very informative answers. I actually learned a lot today. Any questions that we weren't able to get to tonight, we'll get a response via email this week. And a sincere thank you, everyone, for your participation. Everyone that did send in a question prior to the event will be entered into a drawing to win some Coug Safe merchandise, so that's cool. And keep in mind, if anyone has future questions for UHPD, you can email the leadership team anytime at police@uh.edu. That concludes. Can you hear my 6-year-old crying? Welcome to 2020, everybody. That'll conclude UHPD's virtual National Night Out 2020. I need an officer. Stat! I know that Chief Moore and his team are grateful that you took the time to join us tonight. And good night, stay safe, and go Cougs. Bye, everybody. Thank you.